To our AMA, I guess. It's good to see already we have some people in the chat, so we're ready to receive your questions. But first, before we receive the questions, let's start with a little bit of round of introduction. First of all, my name online, you might know me as Memnon, but my real life name is Christian. And with me here today, we have Marcus. Marcus, can you say something about yourself and what you do in IOP?
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Marcus, and I'm the founder, at least co-founder of IOP with many people here in the team. And basically, this core here is the people that started the project 3.5 years ago, and that lead us through good and bad times. And now we are here, and we come to the public, and yeah. So I'm the founder, basically. Yeah.
Thank you. And perhaps Viggy, maybe you can say something about yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Viggy. In real life, you meet me as Attila Vágvölgyi. Yes, I'm from Budapest, and I found this good team when I was looking for a decentralized project where we could build something that is usable for others. And since then, they call me a technical coordinator here in this team. Mm-hmm. So whenever someone has questions that they want to pair program or discuss with someone, it's me.
All right, wonderful. And the person that we know and see online as Mudley, can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Sándor, and on Discord chats I'm Mudley. And I joined IOP this year, but I've been contributing for 2 years now, as I remember correctly. Yeah. My role is somewhat between project architecting and project managing. So when the team discusses the upcoming features or developments, I'm the one who coordinates that we can deliver it as we promised. More or less it works, but of course, as every team, we have some kind of time management problems. Sometimes I also try to manage the daily tasks and ensure that all people or everyone in the team works without blocking issues or something.
All right, and is Thanks. That challenging for you, considering that not everyone's in the same workspace?
No, the biggest problem, as I observed, is that this whole field is a research and development. It's all about researching and development. And when you have sprints and standard Kanban boards and stuff, managing research and development projects, it's not that easy because you can't ask developers estimate a task for a day or two.
Right. So, talking about the project and the development, Marcus, before I go to you, Marcus, let me just tell you, the audience again, that they can ask questions through the chat. We're taking questions, so please put them in there. I'm watching them. If you put them in there, we can ask them straight to the developer, straight to Marcus, and to me, of course. So we're really looking forward to your questions. But I haven't seen any questions yet, so perhaps it's a good thing that Marcus starts by explaining what this project is about. What are the goals? What's the aim of the project?
Well, yeah, this is a book for itself to tell. When we started the project, we saw clearly the lack of being restricted to just blockchain, but we understood that if you have something like a blockchain which solves basically the trust issue, because between parties that don't trust each other, and a lot of other things as well, we saw immediately a lot of new opportunities, a lot of things that came up or that will in the next year shape the future in a complete different way than we can imagine now. And putting this into one vision is a very, very big challenge, and IOP is trying to achieve this one, where we are not only focusing on the blockchain, we are also focusing on Web3, on all these things that in the near future will really evolve around the blockchain technology, and also at the same time artificial intelligence and all machine learning, all these big data, all these big buzzwords that occurred in the last decade, they all mix together and come into a kind of stack that we are building time by time and step by step, of course. And this also just because there was in the beginning Bitcoin solving one big thing, and now after this we have the snowball effect of trying now to tackle one stack, one topic, one project by each other, and in the end we glue this together to an IOP stack that reshapes how the internet is working today. Yeah,
So let me ask you, what is, we all know that Bitcoin is trying to solve the currency issue, right? It's creating a digital currency that people can use. It's doing it in a somewhat decentralized way, although things are shaping up a little bit differently, perhaps, with Bitcoin. What is different for that IOP is doing with Hydra? What is the main issue that we're tackling?
Well, first we see blockchain itself as means for the end. So we are not so focused on the currency issue, because we know that whenever you use a blockchain, you do transfers, and transfers have a specific value. So it is clear to us that that tokens will have a value and will be used for money transactions as well. So it is kind of currency, but we are developing our blockchain solution to solve a real world problem, which is not focused on money transfers, but we like to use the blockchain as what it is. It should be a database, a decentralized, trustless database, and with many other attributes. And we use it basically as a utility. So our token that we are developing is a utility token instead of a digital gold. So we clearly, at the first moment where we are building this step, at the first step, the main utility that we are gluing and tying to the blockchain is creating, claiming and verifying verification of identities. So IOP is in that sense, in the first step, solving the identity problem that the decentralized world needs to have solved. We are eradicating central issuers of IDs with that, or at least we are not eradicating them, but they can use still our decentralized solution if they wish. Yeah, but we solved the identity issue. I can elaborate on that later. Yeah.
Okay. Well, talking about the identity issue, I'm getting a question from R. Morgan in chat. He's asking, I saw a lot of times in the IP chat that you can build apps like Uber, Facebook, etc. And usually it's one company that focuses on a single app and makes it successful. Isn't it a bit too much for us to work on this grand scope? And perhaps you can elaborate a little bit on whether we'll be making those apps or what it is actually that we're doing with it.
Yes and no. So first we had to learn the hard way how big the vision really is, and the reality showed us a couple of times how hard it is, and Madly already was mentioning it. The biggest part of the work that we have done so far, or that we are still doing, is research and development. There is a technology like Mercury Protocol, peer-to-peer decentralized communication secured by the new cryptographically technology, is something that that took 2 years for us to come even to a point where we can say, okay, now it's in a prototype stage, and now we can maybe think about building products on top. So these things really, it is a grand scope, but now with the upcoming IEO, and that we now go to the public, and the scaling, what we are planning, I think this is not becoming so ambitious anymore, because the first barrier to survive crypto and to solve the research problems to build this communication layer protocol, where we then put the blockchain, glue the blockchain together with, this is done. So we basically know now, yes, we can do it. It is not a crazy idea. And this team can do it. And now comes the next step. And the next steps, they won't be easier, but now it's easier to tackle them, because we have now the wind in the sails. We have a lot of traction. We have a lot of more experience, and so on and so forth.
So regarding the ICO that you mentioned, I was getting a question from the chat, why we chose to do the ICO on Litoken and not on Bittrex. Was there any particular reason for that, or?
Well, we are a long-standing partner with Bittrex since 2016. We are listed on Bittrex, so we have a very good companionship with them. Bittrex itself didn't want to hold an IEO. Also, we were looking for a partner that is very fast and very quick and very flexible. And it was also a legal issue. If you see, Bittrex is tied to the law either in USA and excluding a lot of others, or it is with their sitting international on Malta. They had a lot of restrictions for us, while Litoken, with a mixed structure, sitting either in with one leg in Europe and the other leg on the Cayman Islands, and still have a good reputation of being one of the biggest IEO platforms so far. There was no big thinking when we got the offer from Litoken to join their platform, because also the other platforms, we asked others as well. They said it will take us 6 months, 9 months, and we were thinking this is taking too long. And another thing is, this is just an IEO. It's not there to be the big thing to whatever. After the IEO comes the listing. That's more important. The IEO itself had the function that we merge our two blockchains to one, glue the technology together, and distribute it as decentralized as possible to many people that like to invest, maybe with fiat bitcoins, that don't know us. And after this task comes the listing, and here we are planning to get listed, of course, again on Bittrex. We already got the okay from them, and other maybe bigger exchanges as well, but this is something.
So elaborating a bit more on the IEO and some of the questions that we're getting in chat. Sorry to be asking you a lot of these, Marcus, but specifically technical questions. In the IEO, many of our community family have read about the Mexican University, about the UN, or collaboration with that. Do we have any timelines for that collaboration, and how does that come into play with our technology? Are we ready to really bring this technology into the use, into the hands of the students?
Yes, let me say something. The university, we are in talkings with them since 2 years. We met them personally. I invited them to Europe, to Budapest, exactly 1.5 years ago. So the second principal of the university, and the IT faculty, they visited us. You were part of this. We were together, had a good time, and we're talking about the strategy, how to bring blockchain to university, and how to put specific things from the university, from the curatorium, onto the blockchain, and how this could work out. Out of these talkings, later the idea developed to start collaborating, and these things are pretty much far. We had a contract that we now signed recently, where in detail is described how far the collaboration goes. The contract, I think it will be even published. We will put it on our website and the university on their website. There will be a huge press conference in the next week or 2 weeks. And part of this contract is the full collaboration starting from 2020. So just in a couple of months. The thing that we have to have ready until then is a blockchain that is fitting their needs. This is also why we are now doing this blockchain and this La token exchange thing to fulfill the needs of the universities as well. And tying the DIDs to this blockchain. And from this moment, we start collaborating, and the university students start setting up their IDs on our blockchain. So if you can think about, the university is not small. It's, I think, in the mid-range. It's about over 30,000 students. They will all get an ID. Everybody has to make transactions with Hydra on this blockchain. And not to forget that each and every semester, each and every half year, you get 8,000 new students joining our ID system, our blockchain. And then this part of this collaboration is the use of Hydra around the campus. And this is not only that you can pay courses, online courses maybe with it. It's also that you probably can buy snacks or your meal in the Mensa, or, and this is to me even more exciting, they can use Hydra to pay by maybe half a chip or mobile, whatever, their tickets, their transportation tickets to get to the university and back home. So in the end, there will probably also be a collaboration with the local transportation system in Nayarit, in that city. This is not fixed yet, but it's part of the collaboration contract. So we are working on that one as well. And then some other things which are now, but we have to see, yeah.
So I'm gathering from your that there's interest from other universities as well. And
yes, but I cannot talk about this in this moment. But well, let's say we have 2 other universities from this country, and we have 2 universities from Germany that already said that they are not only interested, but they would like to. They invited us. We had with one university a talk, and they said, also, if you have this kind of blockchain, the IDs are running well, plus you have Mercury, we will probably make a contract with you as well. But
very cool. So coming back a bit more to the technical side of things, in the IEO listing, there's obviously a link to the white paper. And I must say, when I read it myself the first time, and also getting this question from a couple of people in the audience, it was a bit too technical. It was 42 pages with a lot of terms, but it seems to revolve around this concept of DIDs. Can perhaps Vicky or Shandor explain a little bit about how that works with DIDs? Are we, well, for a simple user perspective, what is a DID? What can you do with it? How does it work? Vicky, can you please say something about that?
So the DID is an abbreviation of decentralized identity, because there are many digital identities that, for example, in China, you have a digital identity, you have a social reputation system on top of that and all these things. This is not decentralized identity though. Decentralized identities are where anyone can create their own identity without a permission, and then basically a web of trust appears among the different roles. Yes, Madly?
Just wanted to say that what Memnon said, that reading a technical white paper like what we have is a bit challenging for like investors or not tech-savvy users. That was a problem for us as well, to find the right words that common users understand. And with the new Prometheus release, we removed the word DID itself as well. We switched to call it personas, because that's more like a word that common people will understand what is it for. And there are other words like claims or whatever, but all of those things will be explained clearly as possible in the application itself.
Okay, so this Prometheus is going to be the application where we see this tech stack come alive, basically.
Yes, you're right.
Exactly.
Okay, and I was getting from the audience some questions surrounding data privacy and specifically GDPR and encryption. So I guess with, well, how the world is shaping up, all the data leaks, how data is stored and gets hacked and gets sold, people are quite worried about that. How do we solve that within our tech stack? Is it GDPR compliant, or don't we even need to think about it? And do we handle things like encryption?
Yes, of course we do. That's the main goal of this whole stack, that we try to make developers, application developers, easy to not worry about these things too much. So we want to build a stack where all the data that user enters is private by default, and they know exactly where do they share it. This is more than GDPR, because GDPR allows companies to store reasonably secured data on their centralized servers by just asking the users. And users, you know that users just click yes, of course, yeah, you can use it. I would like to use Facebook, therefore I can give you anything. So we are exactly the opposite in that sense, that the data is owned by the user. They know when they share it with someone, they basically license out this data to some given purposes and with the time frame. And then they can claim stuff about themselves.
Okay. So yeah, obviously Facebook is a little bit of a scare. We also heard that Microsoft is tackling this issue. So why not go with Microsoft instead? They're working on digital identity.
Yes, there are many companies actually who reach this point that it's not enough to have a currency in the decentralized web, but they need identity, they need reputation around users, and they have different ideas about how to make that reputation. Some go, like the default Microsoft way is to have state actors and some big companies who host your identity, and then you can choose which holder will host your identity. We believe that it can be more private, and you can be your own host in that sense, and you can own your data. There are many good other projects, though. It's not just Microsoft who's working on it. I would talk about the Civic Wallet. Also, Sir Tim Berners-Lee made a company in Rapt who made a solid protocol. These are all pretty good ideas how to tackle some of the problems with the current web. But what we found during our research is that the web stack itself contains many problems with all these gatekeepers. Like you need to register DNS, you need to pay for certifications on if you want to encrypt your information. There are many places where people can hook into if they are ambitious with you.
Broken SSL certificates, NSA leaks, and it's a never-ending story.
So web browsers as an endpoint is somewhat crazy. We try to make a stack where you don't need to worry too much about all this legacy that the web stack has. You don't need to fix it.
Can I just cut you off there and just ask you a question? So, Motley, you mentioned before that we're now renaming, or we're making the naming of this DID simpler. We're calling it a persona. So I'm going to create a persona, I don't know, Memno, within the system. How does this stuff with claims work? What is a claim? How can I use a claim? Can I give a claim? What is a claim? Do we even call it a claim?
basically you can create any number of personas in Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have just a single one. You can make any number of one. You can.
So I can be Chris and Memnon at the same time.
At the same time, in the same wallet. It's like a Bitcoin, HD Bitcoin wallet where you have many addresses, and you could even have throwaway personas for some purposes where you don't really need to keep them for a given web shop or whatever. The idea is that you don't need to think about this too much. If you need to share the information that you want to be called Memnon for this persona, then this is a claim. Basically, you say that, hey, this phone number like thingy, which is this is your persona, I would like to call it Memnon, and then you show it to some of your friends on the gaming community, and then they will say, yeah, this is the guy I know as Memnon, and they will verify your claim.
All right, so others are verifying the fact that I am Memnon.
Yes.
So they could verify anything, like, I don't know, the fact that I'm Dutch.
For example, you are Dutch, you are more than 21 years old. Sorry to tell that in public.
Shit.
But
sorry, YouTube.
Yes.
Cut that out.
So that you can have many of this information, and you can make even a complex claim with lots of these data. And after someone signs it, you can mask out some of this data if you want to present it to some other. So let's say you attended a university, just stick to the university.
In Mexico, by coincidence.
Yeah? And you had some grades. Okay, in one semester you had some grades, but you don't want to show your math grade, you just want to show your history. Yeah?
Yeah.
You can do that. You can mask out some of these things, and then you can present it to your, I don't know, employer when you are applying for a job or something like that.
Right. Right. So, Marcus, is this also where the university comes in to step away from these concepts of claims and the personas and make it into real life use cases?
Yes, of course. I mean, there is no better verifier or issuer of such IDs than a university that you're attending. I mean, the university sees your application form, the university sees your face, probably you have a university ID card, they probably know your passport, the passport number, they pretty much know who you are, and even if you fake your ID and you go to the university and you attend all courses, then at least what you cannot fake is that you have this diploma, that you earned it, right? So there are certain claims that are undeniable true, and having, for example, let's say an ID verified by university in Harvard, having an ID verified by a school before, maybe in India, and having an ID verified maybe by popular friends, by a big web of trust that my friends are building, and having my ID verified by my parents that said, yes, this is my son or this is my daughter, it makes my ID quite plausible and believable. And this persona is probably my public persona that I'm like my Facebook profile that I really try to curate and keep in a good shape. And then I probably have, of course, a different persona where I just live my hobby, where I meet friends from a complete different area. Maybe sport, rock climbing, hill climbing, trekking, and I don't mix these personas. So I have here probably a different persona that I'm maintaining as well. But the good thing here is, and this is very, very important, many people would say, well, then we will have a fleet of fakers that are impersonating and that will do fraud. And I think the exact opposite will happen, because nobody believes a fraudster that cannot bring up many very valuable claims, and being verified by let's say if you're a rock star, and you pretend to imitate this rock star, then you can immediately see that on the one side has many claims, verifiable good claims. and the other one has maybe thousands of fake claims from India or from Russia or from another cheap country that are collected through bots. You can immediately see the difference, right?
So, am I correct in saying that currently, if people wonder if you and I are friends, we ask signs like Facebook, LinkedIn, or some other way that we're linked. And with IP stack, and we could simply ask each other or ask someone that we both know to verify that we actually know each other.
Right, right. And the best thing about it is that even because you have a kind, let's say like Wiggy mentioned, you have kind of private key and a lot of public keys, and these public keys in Bitcoin are your personas. With the seed phrase, you can sign and verify basically all different personas that you are maintaining, if needed, without handing out your private identity. This is also a very, very big feature that our system has compared to others. I mean, there are other very good identity systems out there, but they depend on a central issuer, they depend on a gatekeeper, they always depend on some entity that is verifying you. And we are building the only system, to my knowledge so far, that is building a complete decentralized identity issuing thing, where other people and parties are verifying my claim that I'm doing, and you, through this web of trust, you are getting your reputation. And this narrows down to 99.999998% plausibility. We also have the big feature of plausible deniability. This is what Wiggy did a couple of days ago. He was committing in our source code. Is it right, the BIP 39 split issue? I mean, you can talk about this, elaborate on this, but it's basically the idea behind that one is that if you travel now to Australia or to the US, you know that the border control, they are more or less over the law. They can ask you to hand out your Bitcoin seed phrase. They can ask to hand out your mobile password. And if you refuse, they can either deny to let you into the country, or if you are Australian, then they can just lock you up until you tell the passport. This is really scary because we are talking here about democracy, right? A human rights country that is fighting wars in Iraq and somewhere. And this country is really locking up their own people for not telling the passports. And here we have the solution as well. With our persona system, you can maintain your public profile, what I was before talking about. You go to university, your mom, your dad, they all verify that you are who you are. You go to this sports club, you are this, you are that. And attached to this, you have your wallets, you have your money, you have your income, you pay tax, you're a very good citizen. But then you have, on the other hand, also other personas that you're maintaining. Maybe I'm a journalist and I fight for free speech, and this is not very good seen, not very well. Well, you shouldn't fly to some countries, right?
If I just may ask, perhaps one of our devs, Sandro, do you have any real life situations where you thought by yourself, here I need this system that Marcus is describing. Here I can apply it. Have you perhaps encountered anything in your life, or can you imagine something like that?
Well, I think what Marcus and Vicky tried to explain is both are really good, but looks like for an outsider as a vision, right?
Yeah.
So imagine a more real life or daily issue you have. For example, if you sell a car, at least in Hungary, you have to have a contract in 4 copies, and on that contract you have to have your address, your name, your ID card number, your birth date, your mother's name, your main address, as I guess, and your signature. The buyer also has to have the same information on that paper, and 2 witnesses with the same information. Lots of informations, right?
Yeah.
And what if you only just give your claim that who you are, nothing
Right.
else, from the witness's side and from the buyer side as well. Those claims can be verified for each parties, and everything is done. Nothing is leaked. And I can imagine that people don't consider this issue as a real-world problem, but the future, the democracy, will not be that shine as they imagine today.
Okay.
Yeah, or let's say you just bought a flat and you don't want to, you want to make a contract with your electricity company, but you don't want to share this information, how much you bought the flat for. So that field you want to mask out, but you still want to prove that this is a legal contract and you are the owner now. These are the tricks you can do with masking out some of the fields from a claim was signed by a third party.
Very cool. Just a question from the audience in between. IL asked this. He asked two things actually. So I'll just chuck them together and we'll see where we go. First of all, he asked, what's the most important thing that you should know as IOP user and as a developer? So from the user perspective, perhaps Marcus, you can. What is the most important thing that he should know?
Oh, well, hard question.
One sentence.
We are not just a blockchain project.
Okay. Well, and as a developer, Vicky or Sandor?
One sentence.
One sentence.
You will have a stack that you can easily use for future deep app development. I don't know how to express more easily in one sentence.
Very cool. And he went on with the following question. By the way, his name is Mr. Sex12. So by the looks of it, our friend from Latvia. He's asking, if I use IOP stack, can I just tell someone that you are who you say you are, and that you will know 100% that that's true without showing a passport or a driving license? Wiggy, maybe you can elaborate on that.
Okay, there are different types of witnessing.
Yeah.
One is where you have really a centralized identity from the state, which is the passport or the driving license thing, where they assign a number to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there are less strict identities where everyone in your whole social network knows that you are you, but it didn't have to be proven by a country or a state or some big corporation. I know, for example, some people who had a failure in their or a mistake in their birth certificate, and they are basically not known either by the Hungarian or the Romanian government as their own citizen. So they are now between two chairs on the floor. These situations can be handled by Web of Trust like certificate.
So what I'm hearing is that there's loads of possibilities, and I'm also seeing questions from the chat asking about things like governance and voting apps, and really things that flesh out the infrastructure that we're building right now. Marcus, the UN contract that we have, the Mexican University, does it also ensure that we do some sort of co-development with them, or that we're, or are we going to build everything ourselves? What is the bigger picture there? Are we looking to create everything from ourselves, and or will we collaborate on that?
We will collaborate fully. That means that from next year, the university IT department will start teaching their students blockchain and using IOP as example. Of course, Bitcoin as well, but IOP is the main example. This is number one. So there is every semester a new generation of students coming out of university that learned blockchain in case of IOP, which is big to my opinion. And second, the faculty of the IT department is going to develop with us a kind of university app, let's say a social, well, something like Facebook or so. They will collaborate with us on this one. So we are, well, the long-term goal of IOP is to build a complete decentralized open social graph. This is something that is coming after the IDs. This is why, or after the personas, this is why I'm saying we are not a blockchain project. The blockchain is not so interesting to us. It is just interesting to us that we have a blockchain in this stage of the project, right? So the university will give possibly master students on our side at hand that we can build together a university app for interacting, researching, finding that, for example, I'll give you one example, very short. Possibly if there are many universities, they have their research fields, and what happens is that nowadays they have data silos. The one university doesn't know that the other university is also researching on it. Normally, they know it after one publishes a paper, right? But when you publish a paper, you can say it's almost too late. There were maybe for one paper, 100 other projects that didn't make it to a paper, that just got stuck, ran out of funds, didn't come to a conclusion or a breakthrough. So one paper is producing 10 to 100 not successful things. So, and now imagine the university can, through our technology, find other projects or other universities, other teams that are researching on the same topic. And here the DIDs and our social graph come into play, and this is really big.
Well, thank you for that. You mentioned we're not a blockchain project. Blockchain is actually not the core component in what we're doing. The other stuff is way more important, but we need the blockchain as in our technology. Why not use Bitcoin then?
Okay. Well, of course, we looked into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin itself is number one when it comes to store away data, secure. There's no doubt about that, and we gladly would have used Bitcoin. But you have to see that the university is asking from us that we need to be able to create an ID, verify and claim ID in seconds, as soon as possible, and this creation process of an ID writing onto the blockchain should not only be very fast, but it should also be as let's say cheap as possible, right? So, and the more people are using Bitcoin, and the more congested the blocks are, the longer you have to wait, and the more expensive it gets. And the thing is that the Bitcoin blockchain itself is 150 times more expensive than creating an ID on our blockchain. No, maybe 1,500 times more expensive. So something like this. Don't nail me here on this one, but let you just have an imagination. It's a big difference if you can create an ID for a student for, let's say, 0.05 cent, or if you have to pay €2.30 or $2.10 for that.
So, related to this question, I saw from the community some questions. Why did we pick 330 million as a total market cap or a total supply of our blockchain? Is that needed for the scaling? What's the reason? People just want to know.
Sorry. Okay. There are many things that came into the decision to do this. We were also thinking about rising it to 5 billion. Okay. So, but when we started with Hydra, the calculations and the price when we set it was that you have to pay 11 Hydra for one IOP. That was around about the course at that time. They changed, and 11 Hydra, if you now see the money supply rise by 15 times, and 11 Hydra is 11 times. And the thing is the scaling factor, which is very, very important. There are many IOP, not whales, but there are many people that hold IOPs. And when we now start fresh with universities, new students are coming in, we are scaling up, and this is the main issue after our IEO. We want to scale up, build apps on top of the platform that we are doing. We need a higher inflation rate. We don't need any deflation money at this moment. We need a complete different token economy. We need a slightly inflated token economy, at least for the beginning. That's very important. That's also what the universities calculated and were demanding from us. And these all and many other reasons came to the conclusion that probably we first wanted to do it 50 times more than Bitcoin has its money supply, but then we ended up with 15 times. And this is a reasonable good start. We can later change it if all the delegates agree to it, the community, if all the voters want it, we can still change this one, but we here went it on a conservative and very safe way. So that's just 350 and not 500 or even 5 billion. If you look at Cardano or the others, they are in billions, and I think this is not good.
So we've chosen a DPoS system, and we forked it from Arc, right? Arc.io.
Yes.
Mudley, was it easy to set up our own chain, and what advantages does this DPoS system have for the participating community versus what we had before?
Okay, I will pose the question regarding the DPoS to Viggy, but but answering the forking part, they have a so-called deployer tool, which you can use for generate your own deployable blockchain with your own configuration. I would say they wrote on the website that it's click, next, done. It's almost true in quotes because the version of the deployer was stuck at like 2.5.4 or something, but the Arc team advanced really fast, and they will have a major breaking change in the very near future. And we decided not to use that deployer because of this reason, but create our own kind of deployer with our own modifications to be at the same version as latest version possible.
Yeah. And are you appreciating the cooperation with the Arc team on the technical front? All right.
Definitely, they are very compatible. What's the word? They are very competent. Yes, thank you. And if there is any issue, we don't get the support guy. We get real technical support, and also we contributed. I don't know how much commits, but some.
Okay. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I think personally speaking, it's very important to collaborate with like-minded projects. As Vicky mentioned before, also in the digital identity space, there are other companies also doing nice elements of it. So in a sense, as developers and as community, we can profit from smart things that other people do, integrated into our system, and grow together.
Sure.
In that sense. Skipping to an entirely different project, because Fra has already asked this question twice, and so I must raise it, and I think I'm going to put it to Vicky. He's asking, I'll read the two questions out loud, and then you can have a go at it, Vicky. He's asking, if you do fraud or fake identity, to do something bad or hurt someone in some way, is there some kind of internal legal consequence, saying that a DID is connected to a wallet? And basically he's asking if it's possible to do something illegal, exchange something illegal, illegal content without being feared to be caught. So can this system that we're developing be abused? we all know that the coolest systems in the world are always used for, the internet is used for. I won't mention it because otherwise our stream will be cancelled. But yeah, what can this system be abused, and how do we address it? Basically.
So first of all, our project is not advocating any illegal activities in any countries, right? So it's not. Many people say that Bitcoin is only used by criminals and terrorists, but we know that it's not true, right? So there are some very good cases when we need more freedom than what a system with gatekeepers can provide us. And this is not about making something illegal. It's only just, let's say, avoiding surveillance or simply keeping your dignity sometimes, like when you enter Australia with your digital wallet. So since we don't have any gatekeepers, we can't really censor our network. But this is not a problem, not a real problem, because you can find many projects all around the internet if you want anarchy. So if you don't want any rules to be existing in a system, you can find those and you can use those. There's pretty good anonymity on some of those projects, but we are not targeting that. We would like to build communities, and in communities you need some rules. But we don't want to decide on our own. We don't want to shape these rules centrally from us. We provide a stack where you can build reputation, and if you lose your reputation in your community, this has real life consequences. It's not like you need a digital punishment. You can have that punishment in real life too by losing trust in your community.
Is that similar to, let's say, I'm a vendor on eBay, and before people buy from me, they always look at my 5-star rating. If my rating goes down or I have some negative comments, then probably my selling won't be as
similar. But yeah, don't use these simplistic systems because, for example, in Uber, if you are driving Uber, you are pretty much a slave of 5 stars, right? So if you get 3-star, you are basically you lose your job. Therefore, you don't dare to do anything. You always do customer first. This is not the reputation system I'm talking about. It's not a simple scalar from 0 to 5. This is really real relations, real web of trust, and in that community you are identified. That's why you split your persona into. That's why you split yourself into personas, because you really want to go deep with that single persona in that single community. You don't want to lose that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. I guess we're rounding up a little bit. So perhaps, Marcus, you could shed a light to the future. What can people expect during this IEO phase, and what can they expect beyond? Do we have any nice treats for them in the future?
Well, during the next couple of weeks, we are going to publish a lot more stuff. We will possibly shape this delegate system. We are building up the community. We have a lot of news in the pipelines. As I mentioned before, we are talking to some other institutes. Well, those things, they need time. I mean, with the Mexican University, for example, since we know each other since many, many months, just to finalizing the contract took us, I think, 6 months, although we knew it since 4 months. We know we will do the contract and it will come, but it took a long time. But I think during the IEO, we will have some news. And after the IEO, we will have even bigger news, because then comes the actual hands-on, getting hands dirty phase, where we are tying IDs to the blockchain. We are releasing the Prometheus stuff. I don't know when. The developers, please, we cannot make promises, but directly after the IEO, I think even before this year ends, we will see something that where people really now can touch, feel, use,
Okay.
And from this moment, the sky's the limit, because from that moment, people finally understand what is this stack. And hey, it's not just crypto, not just the wallet. Hey, it's really, I build my persona, I build my image, I get reputation, I have interaction with others. I can really use it if I do online courses at this university. If you want to learn and study blockchain, you can apply to university studies, and so on and so forth. And these are the things that we are now scaling up by end of the year, beginning of the next year.
Okay. Well, before I pass on the mic to Vicky and Shandor, a question from Roger from the audience. He's asking, with Bitcoin being the biggest crypto out there, it has a massive network effect. And he's asking, how does the IOP tech stack will service Bitcoin?
Okay, I think I'm getting what he wants to know. Well, let's say like this. I don't want to make a bold statement here and say, we will be. Honestly, just look at the facts. We are here since 3.5 years. I think that, no, even exactly 4 years ago was the Twitter account created. The people can check it, look it online up. 4 years ago, IOP was created. In the last 4 years, the whole project was financed by us, pre-financed from our own money. We put all what we have into this project, and we always said we deliver first and then we raise money. So number one is reputation. So when you look to other projects, you always have to see how good is the reputation, how good is the team. And I think the second point what you have to look at is the technology stack. Why is our technology different from others? And it's not who is programming better, who has better marketing or this and that. It's really the features of the stack. And if you're not the technical features, but the design of the stack. And here you see the real gemstone in this project. Our IOP stack is completely not discriminatory, non-discriminative. It is borderless. It is easy accessible. It is private. It is secure. It has no barrier of entrance. It is decentralized. We are truly decentralized now. We have now a depot system as the intermediary step to the complete free blockchain that comes later. And what is very important here by design, our stack has no gatekeepers. So there is not one company that is this project now after this IEO is depending on. So we have GPL3 open source. Everybody on this planet who knows how to write code can join the GitHub, can commit code, and can make this project come true and further build it. And it doesn't depend on us, on me, on the advisors or anybody here that is sitting here. So we are completely free and decentralized now. So these two are very important things. And now please compare to other projects and then make up your own mind.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's clear. Before we sign off, obviously I want to give the audience some time for some final questions, but also I want to give Vicky and Shandor some time perhaps for some final thoughts or words, something that you want to tell the people that are watching this stream live or perhaps later. Vicky, do you have any final words and some thoughts that you want to pass on to people regarding IOP and Hydra?
Yeah, maybe it's visible that we were in a research phase for too long, and now we started putting together this Prometheus app, and you will see lots of comments. If you are a developer, follow us on GitHub, because we publish there everything we make. We are open source project. We would like to stay so. We would like to build a developer community and attract those. I saw a question about when they can use our stack.
Yep.
We had there was one point in time where we already have an API for decentralized applications. That's what we are reviving now, because we made a complete restructuring of the project in starting this January, and everything you see now is written since then. It's a fresh project with clean code, and that's why we are reviving projects now and reviewing our.
So developers should follow GitHub, and community members should join Telegram and Discord, basically. All right, Sandor, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, I think Vicky talked about everything I wanted to talk to. What I think that if GitHub is not enough, or you have questions, or if you just missed this chat on YouTube, please join Discord. We have a community server there. Ask us.
Yeah.
Anytime.
All right. And finally, a question from the audience, perhaps for you, Marcus. It's regarding the blockchain technology that we've chosen. We've switched from proof of work to DPoS. What is DPoS, and why should people be excited about it, about this change?
All right. So before we were proof of work, we run on the proof of work system, basically currency based, and it doesn't fit the goal of what we want to deliver in the end with a stack. So we needed to have a consensus switch where we are opening up and getting decentralized and putting the blockchain into the hands of the community, let's say like this. So if you are not a developer and you still like to participate, then you have really the chance actively to become a community member with big reputation by voting or getting voted to become a delegate, ambassador, a chapter, whatever in our network. You can forge, this is another word for mining or minting. You can forge coins or tokens. You can earn from the transactions that you are passing through. And becoming a delegate is a very, very good opportunity to shape the future of this network and to make it more decentralized. So that means we as project, for example, I don't have a delegate, and we as project are not controlling anymore this blockchain. The more people join the community, the more people are using the voting system and supporting the best delegates, the stronger and the better the system gets. So I don't want to go into the technical details of how the DPoS system works, but we have a 12-second block time. We have 8 Hydras block size of tokens. We have 53 delegates. That means roughly around about 400,000 Hydras that a delegate can forge during a year. But here I have to say our delegates more or less probably don't get really rich, because instead of unlike or similar to Bitcoin, where you have to invest a lot into hardware, a delegate is sharing most parts of his profits either to the voters that vote for him. So we have a kind of staking, but this is cold staking, so it's an even more advanced system that the other systems have. It's cold staking. You don't need to run a wallet, have a wallet open. You just give your vote to a delegate and he shares his profits with you. And if the delegate is not sharing the profits with you, but still a delegate, then you can be pretty sure that he's very good for the infrastructure and supporting this blockchain. So to my opinion, there are almost no disadvantages and just advantages, although in the end we probably would even still use a different system in 1, 2, 3 years. But now we have delegates, we switch to one of the fastest open decentralized blockchains, and that's the reason behind it. So please get some Hydras and try the voting feature and vote your favorite delegates, or if you have some money in your pockets, then try to become a delegate yourself and be part of that community by actively taking part of it, and designing and shaping it.
Yeah, and I just want to say that actively becoming part of it is much more than just voting. We've got a very lively community, some of which is already 3.5 years old and stuck together through all of this. I'm seeing some of these people in the live chat, and I'm sure some of them in other time zones will look at this later. It's an energizing community of like-minded people, but we can have well, pretty heavy discussions as well on very interesting topics. I'm surprised by all the good questions that we, pleasantly surprised about all the good questions that we've gotten in the chat today. I realized I haven't been able to post them all to you. I've probably missed a few during the chat, but I'll make sure that all of them get answered afterwards. And we're always ready and available in Discord and Telegram as well. So if you have any questions, just come in there, ask us, ask one of the admins. We're there. But for now, I'd like to sign off, wave goodbye, and hopefully see you at the other end on Discord or Telegram. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.